Scariest movie I've ever seen.
The scariest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Scariest movie I've ever seen.
Man, I have to think.
Scariest movie I've ever seen.
Man, that's a tough one.
Well, that is a tough question.
Well, The Shining still gives me nightmares to this day. Of course, I saw it when I was very young, so it made an impression on me that's, it still creeps me out to this day, so.
I would say probably the one that sticks out in my mind the most was the original Exorcist.
Psycho, bar none. The first time I saw Psycho, it totally freaked me out, scared me to death. And I can remember that very vividly, even though it was in black and white. But it by far was the scariest movie I ever saw.
Halloween.
When I was about 9 years old, I was forced to watch The Exorcist. And when I went to bed that night, the old pillow was underneath the sheets, and I was scared to death. I didn't go to bed.
I remember watching Friday the 13th at midnight at the Castle Theater in Newcastle. So we were teenagers, and being so scared. When I got home, I slept in the middle of the bed because remember, Jason was underneath that bed and the hand comes up and around, hold your forehead down neck.
Scream. I just don't like that mask. Scares me to death.
I would have to go off reservation and say it didn't have anything really to do with Halloween or being all that scary, but when I was a little kid, the first time I watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory scared me to death. I mean, people would disappear, they'd fall into chocolate, you'd never see them again. The little Oompa Loompas were terrifying, and Gene Wilder's singing was pretty scary as well.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I was way too young to be watching a movie like that.
The scariest movie that I've ever seen or the one that I think of is Psycho. And the one scene that I remember is the shower scene, and I saw it, I was fairly young, and I think that's why it stuck with me as being very scary.
Maybe it was my age at the time, was Silence of the Lambs.
It was definitely The Exorcist, and I was in college at Ball State University, went and saw that movie, and when she actually turned her head 180 or 360 degrees, I felt like my head was twisting off. So yeah, that was my scariest one.
The guy with the scissor hands. Edward Scissorhands.
The scariest movie I have ever seen was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I remember when I was little that they were in these pods and it was freaking me out. And so I had nightmares about it. So that would be the scariest movie I've ever seen.
The scariest movie I've ever seen was Carrie.
Amityville Horror.
You know what? As a kid, I remember every time the movie came on, I'd freak out. It was Pet Sematary. I don't know why, but that always gave me the creepers.
The Howling.
The Exorcist.
Basically, Children of the Corn, I watched it when I was about 10 years old. I had some older cousins around, and they made me watch it, you know. And so, of course, you know, I watched it midday even, but it was the scariest movie I've ever seen.
I don't think it was like the Freddy Krueger movie. It was just another movie that they killed people. The kids were out, like in the country, and there was people taking them.
I guess the one that maybe disturbed me the most was Pet Sematary. Stephen King, I don't know why. I mean, there's been tons of scary movies, but that one really disturbed me.
Paranormal Activity.
I think that would have to be Carrie. I know it was a long time ago, and I think it was the bucket of blood at the end.
I would have to stick with probably Friday the 13th. There's probably more out there and better ones, but that's probably my all-time scariest.
Probably when I was a kid, because I haven't been, scary movies don't bother me. I would have to say It was pretty scary.
Scariest movie I've ever seen was Night of the Living Dead. When I watched it, I was probably 15, and I couldn't sleep for a week.